Hi, everybody. We are starting week 2. This is all about language processing in the brain, language acquisition, how babies acquire their first language. So there are a couple ways to find your assignments. One is to use the modules tab on the side. The other is to use this link, and that's going to take you into modules. Now you're going to see that when you enter modules, some of the modules may be open. Once you are finished with all of the assignments for a particular week, you're going to want to collapse that. And then the next time you enter, then you'll see the modules that you haven't done yet. So let's just see what we have going on for week 2. We've got 6 assignments. So there's a quiz, and then a few summaries, and then a discussion. And then we use the next button to work our way through. The first quiz is based on this video and mostly this textbook chapter. So this is where you're going to find most of the answers to the questions. We should be able to find them in the order that you see them in the chapter. The next assignment is a kind of a summary comparison on something called aphasia. So you're going to learn all about aphasia. You're going to learn all about the different parts of the brain that process language. And I really want you to check out these 2 videos down here. There are 2 main types of aphasia. Both of these gentlemen suffer from each type. And so you can see the way that they articulate depends on which areas of the brain are affected. So you can get an idea of that. And then what you're going to do is just compare and contrast the 2 different types of aphasia. Okay. And then you're going to do a timeline. So this is first language acquisition milestones from birth to about age 5 or 6. And I have the 5 stages here that I want you to use. What I've got are some articles here and then a video, and they all cover basically the same thing, but with a little bit of a difference. So what you're going to do is you're not going to write a paragraphs or like an essay. You're going to make a more of a graphic representation. So you can do it in any way that makes sense. Probably you can design something on a Word document or a Google document. You can even make a bulleted list if that's easier for you. But I do want you to make sure that you cover all 5 of these stages. In fact, if this is easier for you, you could just write it on a piece of paper, actually draw it with, pencil, and then take a picture and upload that. Those are all different ways that you can do it. Okay. And then for the discussion, this is about theories of language acquisition. So there are some different theories out here. This is specifically focusing on first language acquisition. So I've got a couple of different resources for you here that talk about the different theories. And then what you're going to do is you're going to choose whichever theory makes the most sense to you and explain why. And then I also have some instructions for the replies. Okay. The next assignment has to do with something called motherese. So that is the language that the adults or caretakers that are taking care of a baby or interacting with a baby, the language that they use. So not focusing on what the baby says, but focusing on what the adults or older children say. And it's called motherese or infant-directed speech. And so I've got some videos here. Check out the videos and the different articles. And then you're just going to describe what it is and give your opinion about it based on everything that you know about babies, which for some of you is a lot, for some of you maybe not so much. Okay. And then for the last assignment for the week, we are going to be talking about something called the critical period hypothesis. And we're going to do it through a case study of Jeannie Wiley. Some of you, if you have taken child development class, you may have heard of Jeannie before. She is a very famous case, so you're going to learn all about her case. It's very sad. She does show us a lot about human development, child development, and language acquisition in particular. So you can read all about her. I've got some links out to some different resources. What I really would like you to do is watch some of the documentary. You don't have to watch the whole entire thing. It's about an hour long, but I do want you to at least see part of it so that you can see how she articulates, how she uses language. Okay, if we want to call it language, that's debatable. And then reading about the critical period. And then what I'm asking you here is to tell me whether or not you think Jeannie's case proves the critical period theory or does not. Okay. And it's probably, the answer is probably somewhere in between, but I really want you to take a stand and tell me why or why not. Okay. And then that takes us to the end of the week. Just make sure that you have finished all of the assignments, and that's it for week 2. All right, let me know if you have any questions or problems or anything comes up, and I will be seeing you in the discussion. All right, bye-bye.